Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite things. I have been doing favorites videos on my channel since I started it almost 5 years ago. Can you all believe it's been that long? Wow. When I first started, I was doing them monthly, and now I started doing them quarterly. We started with categories, and now I just share 10 random favorite things from the last couple of months with you. And this quarter, I hate to break it to you, it's actually only 7. If you can't tell by the boxes behind me, we are currently in a state of transition. As of the filming of this video, we are moving across the country in 6 days. And so there's boxes behind me, and B, I haven't had time to like find a whole lot of new things that I love. So I was only able to come up with 7 things that are my favorites for the last few months because moving and packing has really been my focus for the last few months. Now, I am thankful for January Laken. One of the things I wanted to try to do this year was go in and add favorites on a monthly basis, even though I am doing them quarterly, right? So the last one was in December. And so really I filmed it probably at the end of November, beginning of December. So I probably could have done this at the end of December, but I didn't really think about it until January and start listing out favorites from each month. And then when I get to filming this video, preparing for this video, I can cut stuff if I want to cut stuff, but then I am not so distracted by recency bias, and really it suddenly just becomes a February favorites video since I'm filming this at the end of February. So I am trying to be better about that this year. And so I'm thankful that January Laken had 3 favorites written down. And I'm not saying like, okay, these are my January ones and these are my February ones. I'm just gonna go through all 7. But I wanted to start with that because the first one was a favorite from December and January, and I had every intention of still prioritizing it in February, and it didn't happen. And that is my MakseLife Daily Intentions Journal. I love this thing. I have always been somebody that struggles with journaling, but I know that writing in the morning, even just a little bit, is really good for me mentally and just getting some thoughts out of my head. Well, I always struggled with the free form. It was just too ambiguous for me, and I love the size of this journal. I love the questions that it asks. It's just the perfect kickstart to my morning. And I was really good about using it in December. I was decently good about using it in January, not the best. So I actually made it a goal. I put it on my goal sheets for February and then ended up like not doing it at all. But it is still a favorite from the last few months, and so I had to talk about it here. If you're somebody who has found that you struggle with journaling and you want to incorporate some sort of writing into your morning routine, I highly recommend this journal. They do also have an evening one. I have not started using that one yet. I have it, but I haven't started using it because my evening routine is already so hit or miss that I'm not trying to add another thing yet. Maybe someday. I think I would love to, and I said this, I think in the video when I reviewed it, I would love to make it like part of a work wind down routine. Might be something I try to implement this year, but right now I'm not using that one. But if you are more of an evening person and you're looking for more of an evening journaling prompt journal, check out their evening one. All right, my next favorite is not so much an object that you can purchase, but more of a mentality or something that I did in January that I am so glad that I did. And that was go update my podcast list. And that comes with 2 things. One is letting go of actual podcasts that may not serve you in this season of life anymore, right? It doesn't mean it's a bad podcast. This also applies, y'all, to YouTube or to Instagram. Just because somebody helped you at some point in your life doesn't mean it's always going to be a good fit forever. And whether that's you change and your life changes, or their content and their life changes, there are so many reasons why we don't need to consume everything from that person for the rest of our lives. So what I did in January was 2 things. One is I went through and I cleaned up my podcast, and I was very picky about which ones got to stay. And then the other thing I did is I went back and deleted old episodes. I was like, you don't need to go back and listen to all of these. If I wasn't caught up with it, I deleted all the old ones and started fresh in January. So just to quickly run through the ones that I still have, because I know I get this question all the time about what podcasts I listen to. These are the ones that I kept on my list. All It Takes Is a Goal from John Acuff. Chasing Simple from Amanda Warfield. That's a business-focused podcast. Detail Therapy with Amy Landino, although that one didn't get deleted because it didn't have any episodes, and she just started uploading episodes again literally this week. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The Lazy Genius. That one, if you're gonna listen to one of the podcasts I recommend, that's the one I recommend. Simplified with Emily Lay, and Yes And from Judy Holler. Those are the only ones that stayed, and I started fresh with all new episodes this year. All right, next up should come as no surprise to you if you watch my Plan With Me's or my vlogs, and that is my notepads. It's almost too bright, you can't even see them. But in December, I launched 2 notepads, a daily one and a weekly one, and I'm personally obsessed with them. I use them every week and almost every day. Recently, I haven't been using the daily as much because I just haven't been planning my life hourly right now. And that is one of the beautiful things about it being a notepad, right? Like there's something so beneficial of a dated planner. Don't get me wrong, it holds you accountable. And if you know that your life seasons aren't fluctuating throughout the year, a dated planner can be really beneficial. But for me right now, I don't need this layout every single day. And so the days that I do need it, I'm glad that I have it just in little notepad form, and the days that I don't use it. But I love my daily notepad and my weekly notepad, and I'm just so thankful to the team at Oh Hello for working with me on these. I mean, I created the entire design. It's my handwriting, is the numbers, and then but they helped me, you know, pick the distributor and get them ordered, and they're shipping them. And I literally am so happy. I'm gonna have to order a new daily one for myself soon, to be honest, because I can't remember how many pages they come with. I think it's 50. And I started using it in December. And so I'm getting pretty close to needing a new one. They're also available digitally if you are somebody who wants to be able to print it out on your own or print different sizes. You can get both the weekly and the daily as digital versions. And the digital ones also have an option to come without the time. So if these times don't work for you, I literally created something that worked perfectly for me. These are the times that I live my life in. But if you need something with different times, you can get a digital version that has blank spaces where the times go to. But I love these things. All right, I usually talk about a book in my favorites video. I'm pretty sure I've not finished a book since my last favorites video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Now I'm gonna give a brief nomination. This doesn't count as one of the 7s for Decluttering at the Speed of Life. I recommended this book probably when I first read it when we first moved 2 years ago. I don't know if I included it in a favorites video, but I do love this book. And I started reading it again in preparation for this move, and I don't think it's helping me as much with this one, only because it is really the purpose of the book is to declutter around your everyday life, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm decluttering as I pack, and it's just a different mentality, but there's still a lot of great nuggets in the book. And so I reread the first half, which I think helped a lot mentally for me, but the second half is really about applying it to each room, and that's not how I'm operating right now. So that's why it didn't make the list, but I still had to give it a little bit of a nomination because I didn't have any other books to talk about. And if you are somebody who is not moving, but you want to declutter, that is a goal for you this year, highly recommend that book. All right, TV shows. First off, I don't remember what vlog it was, but there was a vlog that went up, I think it was the January one, where I asked for TV show recommendations, and y'all showed up. And I need to go back to that vlog and like make a whole list, because basically what I did is while I was responding to comments, whoever said Once Upon a Time and reminded me of that show, you're the true hero, because that is the favorite I'm gonna talk about in this video. I forgot how much I loved Once Upon a Time. That show originally came out when I was in college, and that was just kind of the start of like the Hulu, like being able to watch TV shows from wherever and wherever. Like Netflix was already very much a thing, but like being able to watch current TV shows was still a little bit difficult at that point. And so I remember sitting on the couch in the sorority house watching that show with my other sisters that wanted to watch it. And so I kept up with it for a while, and then it kind of started to get a little bit weird, and when I was rewatching it, I remember that part, but this time I powered through, and I'm actually really glad that I did. The last season is a little bit all over the place. I still am not sure how I feel about it. I literally finished it 2 days ago, but the rest of it, I love it. I think it is so cool. It keeps you engaged. There are so many characters. The way they weave the stories, like the way that this character is this person, but also this person, is just amazing. And it's just like, as somebody who also loves Disney and fairy tales, I think it's beautifully done, and I really loved it. So that has been my favorite. I literally have watched the entire show from start to finish, and now I'm moving into kind of movies right now, because the problem with shows, and I'm sure you can relate, is you get sucked back in, right? And you stay up later than you need to, or you watch another episode instead of like doing something else. And so I've started to try, and actually this sounds so backwards, to watch something longer, but I've actually been watching movies while I pack now. That way, like when it's over, and I have to like really think about what I'm watching next, as opposed to a TV show you just like click next, especially when there's 7 seasons with 22 episodes each. But if you've never watched Once Upon a Time, or you haven't watched it in a long time, highly recommend. I really enjoyed it. All right, next up on my list is something I actually started using way back in 2020 and then stopped using because we moved close to a Trader Joe's, and picked back up again as we have needed more time while we've been moving. And also, I'll tell you in a second, I think it's saving me money, and that is Instacart. And again, I know I'm not new to Instacart, right? This became a really popular thing back in 2020 when people were getting groceries delivered. But if you've never used Instacart, it really is, it's a grocery delivery service, but they also have other stores on there as well. In fact, I used Instacart to get ice delivered for our wedding because our caterer didn't provide ice. That's so weird to me. So I had to get ice delivered, and I was able to do it via Instacart. I also got stuff from Costco for our wedding delivered via Instacart. That was a year ago. Right now I'm using it for groceries. And the other reason I picked it back up is that I have a Chase Sapphire Reserve Preferred. I can never remember which one I have. I have one and Sam has the other. And it comes with like free Instacart extra or whatever it is, so I actually get free delivery, but I still have to pay like a service fee and tip, and then I also pay a long distance fee to order from Aldi. But the prices are so much lower. Trader Joe's prices have gone up, at least the ones here in the city, that we are saving money on grocery orders right now. And I'm also able to order a lot other, like more stuff that I wasn't able to get at Trader Joe's. So it has been really beneficial for us right now, especially during the state of moving. It's also really nice to not have to go to the grocery store. It's cold outside right now, and even though it doesn't take all that long, it's still just so much nicer to not have to think about it. So if you have wanted to save some sort of time, especially if grocery shopping is something you don't enjoy. I know some people really love that task or that chore. I'm not those people. I don't like grocery shopping. So I really love Instacart. They do, this is obviously not sponsored because it's my favorites video, but they do like a referral program where like if you sign up and use it, you get some maybe 10, 20 bucks off, and I get 10, 20 bucks back to like use in my Instacart. I would appreciate if you use my link if you want to try it out, but I'm just telling you, if you've never heard of it or tried it. Now, let me say something before I get this in the comments. I know that grocery pickup is a thing where it's kind of the same. If you don't like grocery shopping, you can go and they like put everything in your trunk. That works really well for people who live in places with cars. And I know for a lot of you, that's the case. You live somewhere with a car. But for people who live in cities without cars, or getting to a grocery store with a parking lot is difficult, check out Instacart. It made the favorites list because we've literally been using it for grocery delivery for the past 2 months. All right, the next thing on my list was actually a Christmas gift, but it is something so silly that you're gonna be like, is that really a favorite? But it is something that I haven't had for years and finally realized like, why don't I own this? And it was hard to purchase it for myself because it was a little bit pricey. So I asked for it as a gift, and it would have changed my life if I'd gotten it that much sooner. And that is, this is only if you have an iPhone, okay? It's the super fast charger from Apple. So if you haven't gotten a new phone in years, and when I got my new phone, which was right before everything shut down, so it was January or February of 2020 is when I got my new phone. I got one of the new super fast chargers, and it charges your phone so much faster than the old chargers. I had it for a while, and then it broke at some point, as all the Apple chargers do, so that you buy a million more. And I was like, I don't need to replace that. Like, it was so expensive. I was like, that's so silly. Like, I'm just gonna use a regular charger. And then I was at my parents' house in September, and my mom has one of these super fast chargers, and I used it and was shocked at how quickly it charged up my phone, that I was like, I need one of these for Christmas. And I got one, I got it, and it literally has changed my life. Especially, I've been watching a lot of movies, like I was talking about, on my iPad, Once Upon a Time on my iPad, and just being able to charge my Apple devices, my headphones too, super, super fast, has made such a difference. So, especially I feel like if you're somebody who like is all, like you leave, you're in and out of the house, if you've got lots of Apple devices in your house. My mom at her apartment actually keeps it out in the living room. It's not like her, because overnight you don't need the fast charger, right? Overnight you can take the regular charge. It's more for like, I need something quick. So she leaves it in the living room, so it's almost like a community charger. And so maybe that's where it belongs in your house. But I'm just here to say, if you either have never had one because you haven't gotten a new phone since the new chargers came out, or you like me and you broke or lost or whatever, it's really worth it. All right, and the last one, I'm gonna try to get through this quickly without getting all emotional, and that has just been spending time with friends. And the reason I wanted to include this was to remind me, I'm just talking to myself at this point, to continue to do that even after we have moved. I am an extrovert at heart. Now, I don't like to be alone. Like, if I have an option to recharge alone or to recharge with a good friend, I'm gonna recharge with a good friend. That said, if I am in a crowd of people I do not know and I am engaging in small talk and like meeting new people, that does drain me. I call my husband an extroverted extrovert because he loves that. He loves to meet new people. Every time I leave the house, he goes, make new friends. He loves to meet new people, and he loves being in that kind of a setting. I'm not necessarily like that. If I am with all new people, it does take a lot out of me. But if I am around people that I know, it energizes me so much, and like it really fills me up in such a way that I can tell if I have not interacted with, like if I've not spent time with a friend in a certain amount of time, it impacts me. It impacts my energy levels, it impacts my mental health, and I can tell that. And so I just, I wanna make sure that I don't forget that, especially when it becomes harder, because we will have less friends. Now, we will have my family, and my mom is my best friend, and my siblings are my friends, and I'm excited to see them. And so I will have them to spend time with, but I also wanna make sure I'm prioritizing other friends as well. And this also really sparked, we had our going away party in January, and it was like 60 people over the course of like the evening, just all these people that we love. And it made me so happy. And at one point I just like stood in the corner of the room and like looked around and was just like so filled with happiness and joy. And I was thinking about the fact, I was talking to a friend actually who was an introvert, and I was like, if I was in this situation and I was just a guest and I knew maybe some people, but mostly just like the people I was there to see, I would feel overwhelmed and it would feel like a lot. But given that I know every single person in this room, it feels great to me, and it made me really happy. So that's my last favorite. It doesn't really help you necessarily. I think maybe to just remember or to know yourself, and that introvert extrovert is a spectrum. And so finding the balance of where you fall on that and making sure that you are catering to that regularly, whether that is spending more time with people that you love or spending more time alone, but just making sure that you're making that a priority, because I have noticed for me in the last 2 months, it has made a really big impact on my happiness and my mental health. So with that, that's it. Those are all the things I've been loving in the last few months. I would love to know down in the comments, what is something you have been loving, a book, a movie, a TV show, something you've been loving that you can share with us. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Back to my channel. Did I just become Southern all of a sudden? Has been kind of my focused for that, yeah, it is awkward. That I'm not that people.